This was originally a comment I left on the Actman's Starfield Hot Takes video. Almost immediately, I had interaction from strangers, but upon refreshing the page a few minutes later and switching accounts, my comment had vanished. Interaction had stopped and not even spam bots were replying. Now, I'm not accusing the Actman himself of hiding or deleting it, as I saw a lot of comments far harsher than mine. But I put some thought into my paragraphs and decided to turn it into a video. I'm not sure how relevant this topic will be by the time I finish the edit, but here goes. The first 11 minutes of the video are great, covering genuine hot takes on Starfield, but it's when he brings up, in his mind, the worst hot take, those being about the pronouns, that I took issue with this video.
Want to play, pick your pronouns, then you should have an option to not enter pronoun.
Yes, agreed 100%. The fact that they force you to do it is the problem. The fact that they force you to do it is the problem. The fact that they force you to do it is the problem. They're forcing you to do it.
Objection!
Show how it's optional. Okay, I will show how it's optional again if you want me to. Look, you can go through this again. There's me, king of pronouns. Confirm. Yep, didn't have to pick my pronouns there.
Take that!
Didn't have to pick them. Okay, so you shut the fuck up about it being forced?
But it is forced, as you just showed yourself. See, here's your character bio, here are your pronouns, and there's no way to turn them off. You can switch through them, sure, but you can't fully disable them. Now, if there was a setting to enable them or disable them, you'd be correct, and it would be optional, but you're wrong. They're forced. Yeah, they are.
Forcing you to do it.
Liar! And you would have a better point of argument here if the game allowed you to skip the pronoun nonsense.
Objection!
Yeah, as is correct. You can't skip them. You had the clip before of how you cannot skip them.
So what? Do I have a better case now? Good. You...
No, you don't have a case at all. You proved that they're forced.
Skip. Because the game understands that when you've picked the male character, you have male pronouns.
I think the first thing we need to look at here is the setting of the game. Starfield is set in the year 2310, so it's definitely not far-fetched that people who go by they, them pronouns exist. You may disagree with it, but at the end of the day, this is a very small detail that remains consistent with the setting of the game's world and doesn't break immersion.
Fucking pronouns!
Is it, though? Does it break immersion? It's sort of a subjective quantity of when your immersion is breaking. Fuck. Some people would say it is immersion breaking and does not at all fit in with Starfield. Do you meet any NPCs who are they, thems? Do you meet any male bodies with female voice NPCs in the game? Does it really fit? I'm not sure if it does.
Gender ambiguity!
This isn't like Elder Scrolls where the setting is medieval times. A they-them setting for that game wouldn't make any sense considering the world is built around a time period where the request for a preferred pronoun wasn't a thing.
Exactly.
Actman, I'm not sure this clip is the defense you think it is, saying pronouns are contrived in Skyrim, but normal in Starfield. You could make a similar argument saying pronouns in Starfield are as contrived, because by 2300 we will have grown out of the pronoun phase.
Exactly. Starfield takes place in the future, so he has to think people expressing themselves in a way that is not traditional gender normed. He has to think that that is a phase and won't exist in the year 2030 something. That's insane.
Is it insane? I'm not sure YMS is a reliable defense, as this is what he said about conspiracy theories.
One of my friends has a sibling who has fallen down kind of like a conspiracy rabbit hole and gets their news from like BitChute.
Oh my gosh, it's like an echo.
And are like concerned about like how George Soros is going to make people eat bugs or something.
But that's not a conspiracy theory. Here are mainstream articles promoting the eating of bugs. You've got Time, Forbes, The Guardian, a Vanity Fair video with Nicole Kidman, and the World Economic Forum's own article from their Davos 2022 agenda. So yeah, it's not at all a conspiracy theory. Also, YMS, a film critic, thinks Shazam 2 is unironically better than Raiders of the Lost Ark.
So, okay, the ranking for the series is
Okay.
5, 6, 5, 4, 4.
5, 6, 5.
You gave
Five,
Dial of
six,
Destiny
five.
a 4?
Wait,
think that Last Crusade is only 1 point better than the Dial of Destiny.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
That's actually
Okay,
insane.
okay.
That's actually insane.
It's okay.
That's actually nuts.
To clarify, you
Okay.
think that Shazam 2 is significantly better than Raiders of the Lost Ark? Somehow this happened.
I mean, for what it's trying to be, yeah.
Like, this clown has no credibility.
In the future, gene therapy and genetic modification will have gone so far that not even the most conservative will be able to say that there are two genders. If you think that things are weird now, just wait until they actually figure out how DNA works.
I mean,
Again, this isn't the defense you think it is. If in the future science has progressed so far you can have an operation that changes your bone structure, skin cells, hair cells, bone density, muscle fibers, basically the equivalent of having your brain transplanted into another body, why would you need pronouns? You would have gone from a male body to a fully scientific female body, so why would you want to use they, them? You would just be a woman now.
have a bit more of a case for the game being woke.
You take everything we love, all our emotions, all our fantasies, all our escapism, and you just can't help shovel your dog shit, fucking crap ideology into everything!
How do you be a conservative when you are a living Wojak?
Why would you use Vorsh as a defense? I can't play the clip on YouTube, but here's the thumbnail. If you know, you know. This is the clip of Vorsh defending naughty videos of children. Why would you use this?
You are a living Wojak. When you are like a subset of the Soy Jack.
Ironic? Surely yelling at women on Twitter is more the hallmark of a soy jack? Also, if you have to hide your double chin with a beard, you can't really call anyone a soy jack ever. You pathetic lump of flesh. You know what? Let's play a bit of the video. Just a few seconds.
On stuff, it should be 100% legal. In fact, and this is going to be a real hot take, I have yet to hear a convincing moral or legal argument as to why possession of child
If you want to have this greater discussion of leftist political agendas infecting all sorts of media, I mean, go ahead and have that discussion. It's definitely happening in some places, but it's not here in Starfield. Wait!
Yeah, it is. Pronouns are inherently political, as they're exclusively used by a very small group of left-wingers.
Fuck Bethesda and fuck the political radical weirdos in the Western gaming industry, staining it with ideological clown world bullshit. What should first and foremost be an escape from it? Back to Skyrim. What? You're going back to Skyrim? That woke leftist nonsense that forces you to pick a race at the start?
God, what a fucking libtard, man. This guy is so woke. You see how easy it is to turn your grift against you? You see how easy it is to imitate it?
You created a nice straw man talking about Skyrim. Neither Dan Vask or Az said anything about Starfield being woke over the ability to cycle through a slider for your race and skin tone. Had enough of how political Starfield was, returning to Skyrim with its themes of imperialism, nationalism, religious freedom, and fantasy racism. Dan Vask said nothing about hating relevant plot politics in games. Forcing immersion-breaking pronouns is different from plot-relevant political themes. You do know that if you choose to play as a Nord, you're not forced to bully Dark Elves, and Nord ideology is not celebrated. You, the player, have the choice to engage, and neither does the game force you to colonize Skyrim for the Empire and crush Nord resistance. These are story elements and politics with choices and consequences you, the player, get to make, opposed to having no choice with the pronouns in your character bio. Also, what's Dan Vask's grift? Starfield is bad, come watch my heavy metal covers? I don't think you know what grift means.
People make...
Oh, this is so lazy. Man, looking at it side by side just reinforces these people are two sides of the same coin. So, being angry on the internet implies you're a SJW from 2016. If you've ever gotten angry about something, you realize how lazy that wording is. Like, yeah, there we go. Mutaha, weren't you yourself quite angry recently after XQC was stealing your content? Could your angry face not be put here under the same context of, well, two sides of the same coin? You could have added extra words to your tweet to reinforce that this was about politics, but you just went for the lazy, angry man, looks like angry woman.
Making comparisons to 2015 2016 SJW shit are entirely correct, entirely accurate. This is essentially fucking blue-haired feminist, fucking big red, Anita Sarkeesian, all this shit. Like, you are the same fucking thing. You are the exact same fucking thing. This is nuts. This is absolutely insane.
Is that insane? Or is something like this insane?
Have to do that before. It's not like anyone said like, oh, Leia needs to be buff in Star Wars, or that any of the, you know, like Black Widow.
Yeah, but she also wasn't she was also kind of like the not really that important of a character in terms of like what she was doing in the movie. I don't know.
Leia,
like,
you don't think so?
Wait, Leia Organa?
I mean, she had her own like fucking side quests and shit, but like
what side quests?
They weren't really like.
Or how about these contradictions? Surely these are more insane.
Hey, I phrase myself very carefully on everything I say. Right. But to claim that, like, oh, the people that want to see themselves represented in that way, like, oh, yeah, they already had it with Ripley. With Ripley and Sarah Connor, and that's it, and those are the only examples that you're ever going to name, and then some side characters. Like,
that's just harsh in terms of representing his point of view.
That's pretty
It's
good.
exaggerative, yes. Hey, I phrase myself very carefully on everything I say. Maybe I'm full of shit because I've never watched every Marvel movie, but like, I'm willing to bet that there's some Marvel movie that exists where there's a male character that also didn't really go through much struggle or suffering before they were expected to be a hero. And just people don't talk about that.
Nah.
The Bride and I love
maybe when I said Marvel, I meant big studio movie.
Hey, I phrase myself very carefully on everything I say. And so they have to be like, oh, actually, you're the one that's mad.
So the guy that said it doesn't matter then's created another post because I guess it really, really matters.
I think that my response to this is proportional to what I'm seeing.
Fucking current day Californian shit!
And this person's response, New Soy Jack's response.
Soy Jack? New Soy Jack? So, screaming about politics in media makes you a soy jack?
Who's trying to prevent and rescue children from the most horrifying situations imaginable? Well, that should be the sort of thing that you should really have no qualms about supporting. And
you're saying that what a movie is about is something that you should have no qualms about supporting? That merely the subject matter is something that you should support? That's insane! That's insane! A movie's about child sex trafficking, therefore you should have no qualms about supporting it? Because what it's about?
I think so many people have been fighting the culture war online like every day for so long, they've forgotten what woke used to actually mean and why we started using that to describe media, articles, and whatever in the first place. You see, woke, at least in my own head dictionary, is a synonym for contrived, deliberately created rather than arising naturally or spontaneously. The only difference between woke and contrived is that woke was contrived, but it had some basis in a political ideology.
I agree with this a lot. And I'm really baffled that you don't see that the forced pronouns are contrived and fall into your own definition of woke. Like it's not a natural forming thing.
Pronouns within it to fit your agenda for your YouTube videos on your channel.
I guess this is what they have to do. It's they sell outrage, they sell anger. They want you to be scared and they want you to be outraged because they profit off of it.
So
wait, who's they? Wait, Az and Dan Vask want me to be scared of Starfield? But why?
So when people complain about the Star Wars sequels and how that trilogy is woke, it's not because the protagonist is a female. For some people that's the case, but mostly it's because the movies have contrived writing that takes us out of the film.
Yes.
That feels artificial.
Admiral Holdo withholding her plans and information from Poe is contrived.
Yes, that's correct.
It's actually a literary plot device known as idiot plot. Admiral Holdo is a character born out of contrived, shitty, lazy writing. And this shitty, lazy writing makes The Last Jedi a worse film. It just so happens that people have made this connection between this sloppy, shitty writing in the sequels and what's been going on at Disney. This is a much more compelling argument for woke ideology inserting into our media. Starfield is not, and calling everything that you don't like woke is the same tactic as calling everyone you don't like racist or fascist or...
But no one did that. Az certainly did not say everything I don't like is woke, and neither did Dan Vask. Like no tweets you've brought up have said that. And with Starfield, it's not just the pronouns. Yes, they are a small, incredibly minor issue, but one issue among many, like the terrible FPS. Like I went from 120 frames in Baldur's Gate 3 on Ultra to barely 30 in Starfield in some of the cities. There's the terrible gameplay loop of like it's constant loading screens in terrible dialogue with the NPCs. Like you sprint to an NPC, talk to them, sprint away, loading screen as you get onto your ship, loading screen as you take off, loading screen as you fast travel, loading screen as you dock on a space station, loading screen as you load into the space station by going through the door. You go and talk to an NPC, run through the terrible dialogue, go and run to talk to another NPC, maybe enter another door, so more loading screens. Maybe there'll be combat and you'll get your bullet spongy enemies that feel worse than like cyberpunk enemies. And maybe you'll get some space combat, which is so incredibly dull, as you just hold triangle to shoot lasers, lasers are down, shoot the ship. Sometimes you'll board it, but it's, again, more loading screens if you choose to dock onto a ship. Load into the ship, kill the guys, and like load out again. It's so incredibly dull. It is such a waste of money. Like I paid 170 Australian dollars for the early access, and my biggest takeaway is how much of a time waste and money waste Starfield really is.
Sexist. And here's the kicker, okay? If simply acknowledging any form of left-wing belief, left-wing ideology, liberal agenda, if the existence of the optional pronouns is all it takes to make Starfield woke, then what the fuck does that make Fallout New Vegas?
In Rome, I found it.
I guess we're gonna end with the New Vegas straw man. Go on. Let's see what he says.
Template for a society equal to the challenges of the post-apocalyptic world. A society that can prevent mankind from fracturing and destroying itself in this new world by establishing a new Pax Romana. It means a nationalist, imperialist, totalitarian, homogenous culture that obliterates the identity of every group it conquers.
Are we going to change the rhetoric?
Again, like with Skyrim, the game does not force you into modern politics. It gives you the choice in how to engage. The game does not promote Caesar as right and the Legion as the good guys. Caesar, for most players, will be the villain. My first interaction with Caesar's Legion is them burning down a town and crucifying survivors. Again, Caesar's ideology is not forced upon you as the right choice. You, the player, have the choice in how to engage with him. Like, God.
To change the rhetoric and go back and say Fallout New Vegas promotes a fascist agenda because you can install a fascist dictatorship as the new government of the Mojave Wasteland is...
Can, emphasis on can. You can install them because you have the choice. It is up to you whether or not you want to. It's not forced upon you, again.
Politics, how tiresome. In conclusion, I think Starfield is a pretty good video game as far as I've played, 25 hours, and I don't know if I've ever seen such a massive and widespread hate boner for a new release like this. So yeah, those were some of the...
I mean, I think Starfield's deserving of a lot of its hatred. Like, it is a terribly made game. But, well, I guess I'll end my response the same way the comment ended, and that is, I know this video comes off as harsh, but I am a fan of yours. Like, I really enjoy your other videos, and your opinions on the pronoun element doesn't affect my enjoyment of your channel, and I will look forward to and watch your future videos.
See you. Bye bye.
See you, bye bye じゃねえよ